Hey, everybody, we'll get started in a couple minutes.
Have fun tonight. I can't wait to hear about it. Oh, we're honoring a special guest. Are you the special guest? Are we honoring you?
Special guest?
It's I don't know. It says honoring a special guest.
How are you?
I finally.
Good to see you.
I owe you. It's on me. It's
That was
on.
on me. I took a long time to respond to you.
So I'm just, you know,
Good.
we'll make it happen. We'll make it happen. Post Thanksgiving now, you know. Oh, don't put me on that mic. Right for the end of the yeah. Exciting.
All right, folks, I'm going to call us to order. Hello, everybody. It's great to see everyone. I think we're going to have a lot of people streaming tonight because a lot of people aren't feeling well and some people are out of town. But I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. Appreciate it. It's good to see everyone. And I promised everyone that we would start out with a special guest, which we're going to do. And it's actually a special person who works here at Bethel. I introduced, a couple of months ago, we introduced Randy Arnst, who's one of the people who's behind the scenes every day working very hard. And I thought tonight we'd take a moment to recognize our building manager, Michael Ray, who joined us. Michael is quite literally the glue that holds the building together, and I don't know if everybody knows him face to face. His presence is felt. He's everywhere all the time. Maybe he's God, I don't know. But we really appreciate, Michael, all the work that you do. During the high holidays, we had to change things quickly. We had to be on our feet. We had to be nimble. The Founders Shabbat, these are just a couple of examples. He really is the glue that holds all of us together, and I wanted to take a moment for all of us to just say thank you. Thank you, Michael. Okay. Approval of minutes from the October meeting. Can I get a motion for that? I sent them out earlier. David Daffner, motions. Helene seconds, so they're passed. And now I'm happy to, I'm sorry. Can we vote? All in favor of approving the minutes? Thank you. Anyone opposed? You didn't read them. I put something in there and you didn't read them. I'm gonna double check next time. Okay. I'm really thrilled to ask Jeffrey Brody, a new board member, to give our Devar Torah tonight. Jeff, why don't you use that microphone over there? Gotta turn it on.
Is it? Okay, there we go. Mr. Vartar is on this past week's Parsha of Taldot. I'm going to keep it brief in the interest of keeping the meeting moving. And so Taldot means offspring. And the story of Isaac and Rebekah, who were childless for the first 20 years of their marriage, she finally became pregnant with twins that struggled inside of her. She described it as similar to two nations at war. Esau was the firstborn, and he became a hunter and a man of the field. Jacob was wholesome and dwelt in the tents of learning. Isaac favored Esau, while Rebekah favored Jacob. One day, Esau leaves to hunt and arrives tired and hungry back home, when Jacob convinces him to sell him his birthright for a pot of lentil soup. It's pretty cheap. Years later, as Isaac became old and blind, he asked Esau to go out and bring him back his favorite meal, and he would convey his birthright when he returned. While he was gone, Rebekah told Jacob to make a meal, dress in his brother's clothes, and cover his arms and neck in goatskin to mimic his brother, and then feed his father and trick him into obtaining the birthright. Jacob succeeded and received Isaac's blessings. When Esau returned and learned the news, he was outraged and wanted to kill his brother. Jacob then flees to his mother's birthplace to find a wife. Some stories describe Jacob and Esau representing two souls that exist in each of us. Jacob as the divine soul with godly drives and a strong moral compass, while Esau as the animating soul with selfish and instinctual drives. It's been said that Isaac wanted Esau to be a successor because he was a fearless warrior, and perhaps his blessing could help him avoid other temptations and dedicate himself to battling evil. Rebekah instead believed that Jacob's devotion to study, not power alone, would provide him the means to overcome evil in the world and make it into God's home. Rabbi Zaslow, I briefly saw her comments on this, and she described it as important to us to see our heroes struggle and perhaps make bad decisions. All of us make mistakes and at times fail in our decisions in life. Struggles are normal for us all, whether they be in our own journeys or in our children's lives, whether they be physical, spiritual, or emotional decisions. Oftentimes, there's no one right answer, and it may require our faith in God to help us make those decisions. Thank you.
That was beautiful, Jeff. Thank you. Yashikoa, thank you very much. So I have a couple things to go through in my report. The first is I want to share with everyone that we're going to approach something called a Thriving Congregations Assessment. So what that is, I've been having some conversations with USCJ, and I don't know, maybe some of the past presidents in the room know Robert Leventhal. Does anybody? So I've been having a couple of conversations with him. There's three parts to this. The first part is an online survey that I'm going to send out following the meeting after I introduce it to everyone. It's basically, we rate what we're good at and what we're bad at. You know, where we feel our strengths are, where we feel our opportunities are. I would love for everyone to complete it, take it seriously, be honest, give feedback. Then we're going to collate those results. That's a quantitative survey. We're going to pull those results together, share them with everybody in the December-ish time frame. And then at the January board meeting, we're going to discuss where we are, and we're going to ask people to share written feedback on the results of that first survey. And then at the February meeting, Bob Leventhal is going to be here. We're going to do like a 2-hour workshop, visioning, planning, break out into smaller groups, and discuss, again, where our strengths are, where our opportunities are, how we can be better, what we need to be doing more of. And that's going to be, if everybody could put it on their calendar, that February board meeting. I don't even have the date myself, but it's going to be 6 to 8 that night, 2 hours. And then the result of that will be the starting point for strategic planning that we can do as a synagogue. We haven't done that in quite a bit. In fact, that's one of the questions on the survey is, have we done strategic planning? So we haven't done that, especially I think the pandemic threw us off. So I'm really excited and looking forward to all your participation in this process. And I think that Tuesday session is going to be really helpful for us to sort of plan out where we go from here. And then again, that really, after all that process, that's really step one to begin some deep strategic planning. So, make sense to everybody? All right, so tomorrow I'll send out a longer piece that explains this and the link to the survey. So step one is to complete the survey, and then we'll get the results back to you. So I appreciate everyone's participation in advance. My next thing is a question from the Bylaws Committee. So we're in the process of, I think, a once in every 5-year review of the bylaws. And the current chair, Fred Cobb, as they asked me to put something forward before the board, as they are reviewing the bylaws, there's a change that was made during the pandemic that allowed us, under special circumstances, if, I don't have the wording in front of me, but if the president and the senior rabbi and I think the officers deem it necessary, the bylaws state, we can have virtual meetings and allow virtual votes. We can have hybrid meetings and allow people to vote from off-site. The question is, do we want to standardize that and have it in the case of not just a special circumstance, but like tonight? Tonight's a board meeting. I know there are people streaming. Do we want to say that that's okay as a standard practice to have hybrid meetings and allow people to vote from off-site? And if so, the Bylaws Committee is going to move forward and write those bylaws that spell out exactly how we do that. Steve, how'd I do? Okay, so if everybody feels so I'm going to ask for a vote. Everybody in the room can vote. We'll just get a sense of where we are. It's a little bit more informal than a formal vote. Oh, is there any questions or any discussion? Do people object? Let me just say one more thought, give one more thought about it. The intent was, I think, originally to encourage, the reason it's not in the bylaws, pardon me, is because there was a feeling that people should be in the room to vote, when these bylaws were written however long ago. But I think clearly that's changed. We've gone more remote as a society, as a culture, and I'm just wondering if anybody objects to this change that would sort of standardize a policy that allows us to have hybrid board meetings on a regular basis. Does anyone have any questions or thoughts? Denise, let me go to Denise, Michael, and then you. For that meeting, we would encourage, I think, people to be here because it's an activity that's happening. I think the question is, when there's a vote, could people vote from offsite? But for that, but yes, I think that's actually a rare case where we would really encourage as much as possible for people to be here because that's an in-person activity. Michael.
When we were discussing this, there was other considerations that came up in doing this. If we ever want to
Pass Michael a
if we ever
microphone.
want to do an anonymous
Please.
vote, how do we do that in this hybrid scenario? Or if we were discussing quorum and how to keep track of all of that, if we're all not together doing this, in synergy. And that's just something that we were discussing. So, I do everything online, I do everything virtual, but when it comes to these meetings, I think we're much more benefited by being in person. I think it will make it easier. It would give you guys the opportunity to decide what type of vote we need to take. And, last minute, things come up. People may say, hey, we're having a vote. I'd like to be anonymous. You guys may huddle up and say, all right, we're going to do an anonymous vote. If that is the decision that you make last minute, and I know there's ways on Zoom to do that, but that's just something else to consider.
So I think that brings up another question. It's sort of a separate issue, which is anonymous voting. Right now, there is no anonymous voting. Our votes are public. We're sitting in a room, we raise our hands. So it's sort of a separate issue. But are you saying, Michael, that stepping away from anonymous voting, you don't think it should be?
No, I think we should put it to a vote and let everybody have their say.
Okay.
I think, and I'm not for tradition or anything
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Bruce, Bruce, use the microphone, please, so people can hear you.
You just have to flip the switch on the top. Then you can leave it.
Like Elvis here. If there's a concern that people over time won't be coming in person, and it starts shifting where people get, for lack of a better term, lazy, or they don't have a solid reason, but they rather, hey, just do it from their home. You could put a caveat in there that there has to be a certain percentage of people to be here in person to have a vote on top of the hybrid. So hypothetically, maybe it could be 75% in person, 25% in order to have an actual vote. If you want to try to have some guidelines to encourage people to still show up for those important items.
And then would those 25% who aren't here be allowed to vote?
Yeah, absolutely. But you don't want it to evolve into a situation where it ends up being 25% of the people here and 75% of the people online, and then you've kind of lost that feeling of
Right.
person.
Okay. Mandy?
The only way people can hear on the stream is if you're talking to
Perfect. I'll use them both. It's perfect. So one thing I think we need to consider is the fact that COVID did change everything, and we are much more technologically advanced, much more technologically advanced than we were a couple years ago. And I think that if we get rid of the hybrid piece, you eliminate the ability of a younger generation with kids to be part of this board, because childcare is not always easy, especially in the evenings. So if we have the ability to allow parents to stay home and still participate, we have the ability to attract more younger people to be a part of this. So while I agree that we do need to be in person for certain things, I think there is a benefit to going virtual and allowing people to have that option so that if something comes up, they still feel like they're a part of it. And to touch on Denise's point of what do we do with activities like the one coming up in February, if you have a certain number of people who are online, why not make them into a work session, like a Zoom room, and they can be there? It's not going to be quite the same, obviously, but we still have that option.
Else? Now, let me point out that the bylaws committee, they're going to make suggestions as to how to structure this. Bruce, to your point, that doesn't mean that they change the bylaws. That will come again before the board, and we vote on them. Does anybody have any questions? Any other questions or comments? Yeah.
All this is doing is giving the bylaw committee I'm sorry.
Steve might be the one person who doesn't need a microphone.
All this is basically doing is just giving us on the bylaw committee an idea of what the thoughts and feelings of the board are, as opposed to the 6 of us on the committee making a decision in a vacuum. So it doesn't mean we're going to change the bylaws. It's just that we wanted to get an idea of how the board was thinking.
Ellen. Thanks, Steve.
My only comment was to have a February meeting and expect a lot of people to come with weather issues. I mean, that's, you might want to consider that, because if the weather's bad, they're all going to stay home.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's just a, just thought.
Great point. We'll watch the weather, and I'm sure we can reschedule if we know it's going to be super bad. Okay. Why don't we just have a show of hands? In some way, shape, or form, do we want to tell the bylaws committee it's okay to move forward with some type of language that will provide for hybrid board meetings moving forward? Steve, you'll report back to the bylaws committee? Yeah. Thank you all. Okay. Next thing I want to talk about is the next board, believe it or not. So 2 things here. We have a board member development committee that is led, per the bylaws, by the immediate past president, so that's Dr. Mishner. We have a group of people who vet potential board members. If anybody would like to join that committee, we'd like to have new people join. You can let me know or Dr. Mishner directly. And also, I would ask everyone to start thinking about who they know who's active in the congregation who may want to join the board. Because we, you know, in May, we'll be looking for new folks. So be thinking about that. I hope somebody can join the committee. Ben, anything coming in on?
Yeah, sorry, trying to follow both these.
Somebody voted again.
No, so Bruce Friedman, I'll just read some comments that were put out there. If someone is speaking without a microphone, yes, we know that. We don't always know as a board that a vote is going to be held. Bruce Friedman mentioned that. Ray agrees with Bruce. Eileen wrote, I think voting should be anonymous as people tend to be more honest than on an open vote. Rainey Melnick and Wendy both said yes to hybrid, and Bruce lamented the fact that I was late on reading these comments. So there we go. Bruce, I apologize.
We're sorry, Bruce. But thank you, everyone, for the comments. I don't think it would have changed the general conversation. Again, the bylaws committee will work this out based on the feedback from tonight. We'll set up a structure, and then that, again, will be voted on by the board in a non-hybrid way. Steve, Rabbi Schwartz.
Just a quick note for folks that the context for this really came out of COVID, when the bylaws, because of how they were written, actually were preventing us from holding votes that we needed to hold when we couldn't meet in person. Exactly, right. So that was the problem, and so we need to at least have some structure within the bylaws if that problem arises again to enable us to have those votes we need to have. Yeah.
Well, that is in place. If there's a, I think I can reply to Rabbi Schwartz's comment. That part is in place. If there's a situation where we deem it a special circumstance, I think it's the president, the officers, and the senior rabbi that we need to have a vote hybrid because we cannot meet. The distinction now is, do we want to have a process where even if we could, we're saying it's okay not to.
Right. Right now, the hybrid is the exception, and we're not supposed to be having hybrid meetings. We're only supposed to be having in-person meetings unless the president, the senior rabbi, the officers decide that there is some overriding concern that requires us to have hybrid. But unfortunately, we've adopted hybrid, and that's become the norm. The question is, does the bylaw committee make it a continuing norm or go back to the restrictive part of it, that it has to be under special circumstances?
Right.
So that's what's going to be reported back.
Right. All right. Thanks, everybody. Are we caught up on the stream comments? To our point about holding hybrid meetings. Okay, I have one last thing. I think it was in October or September, we set up a table with the coffee meetings, asking everyone to meet and get to know each other who didn't know each other. We've gotten really good feedback on that. I know a lot of people have held those meetings, have met people. We were going to do it again, but I'll be honest with you, Amanda and I have sort of lost track of who knows each other already and who doesn't. So this morning with the agenda, I sent out a full chart of the board meeting with everybody's emails. I would ask you, if you've already had your meetings, find two people who you just don't know, if you don't know their names, and reach out and say, hey, I'm a fellow board member. Set up 2 coffee meetings between now and the end of the year, on Zoom, in person, take a walk. If there's somebody, if there's a name, if you just don't know who Elliot Marenblum is and you feel like you should, reach out to Elliot, and Elliot's a nice guy, I promise, and he'll have coffee with you. So, Mr. Marenblum. Anyway, I hope, like I said, it's been a really good spur to get people to know each other, and I hope that people continue to do it. So do it on your own, basically. We can do that, right? All right. Thank you, everyone. That's all I had. Does anybody have any questions for me? If not, we'll go to the executive director.
There are going to be a number of reports from others that'll touch on some of the things that I would. So let me just say that I want to give kudos to Amanda, Rebecca, Jeremy, Esty, and the entire team who ran an incredibly successful Giving Tuesday campaign yesterday. If you're on Facebook, you would have seen one video after another of staff and lay leaders and members talking about how much they love Bethel and giving, and it was an incredible amount of work. And I'm just very proud of the team that took on that job and did it incredibly well. So you'll hear more about that in a little bit. In the office, between Amy Payne's desk and Yvonne's office, on the right-hand side, you'll see where the copier machine is in the little room, and to the left is where Michael Ray has been sitting, and Rabbi Sorokin's assistant Eileen has been sitting. That office space is about to change. We are converting it into an actual office for the Soul Center staff, because the Soul Center staff was relocated out of their office when we had to make some other changes. So that's just it's not a big issue, but it is something that's happening. I think you should all know. So when you walk in the next time, you'll see that in a few weeks, you'll see that there's a change. It's just a matter of putting up a wall, doing some paint, and bringing in some new furniture. So it's a good issue that we are running out of space in terms of the level of professionalism and the staff that we have. But that's happening right now. I want to thank everybody in the room, but especially the Founders Shabbat Committee, who worked incredibly hard to make sure that we had what was an incredible Shabbat experience earlier this month. Gail, thank you. Where's Jerry? Jerry, thank you. Denise, Steve Levin, Jill, Keith, Dale, I know, and others who really spent an awful lot of time making sure that that went off incredibly well, including Lindsay in the kitchen, Jill, who is sitting back there, and the entire team really worked so hard to make that happen. And if you were here, and I know most of you were, it was a really special day. It was just a very special day. So thank you all for doing that work, and thank you all for being here for that. Last thing is, if you've gone to www.bethelbalto.com recently, you'll see that our website does not look like our website used to. We did a soft launch for the website. Over the last several weeks, Jeremy and Esty have been working with Capalza, our development team, to make changes, update the website, make sure that it is in working order. Still work to be done, but we're very proud of the design. We think that it's going to really allow us to be more nimble as we move forward. So go on, take a look. If you see anything glaring, let us know, but give us a little bit of time, because there is a lot of work that's being done. Are there any questions, comments, suggestions, complaints? No? How rare. Thank you, everybody.
The site looks great. It's a fresh look. Everybody should check it out. Again, we've even got a button up there that says we're working through this. The only way to work through it is to put it up there, give people a chance to give feedback. We need to correct things, we will, so let us know. But take a look at it. It's been a lot of work on the part of the entire staff, so it's a great step forward. I sent out the numbers, the financial update. Does anybody have any questions or concerns for Hal regarding where we are financially? Hal, anything you want to say? Okay. I think we're good. We'll go right from there to the annual appeal. Becca. Amanda is not feeling well.
Hello. Perfect. Following up with what Ben said, we had an extremely successful Giving Tuesday, and if you haven't checked out our social media pages, please do. We have a lot of amazing videos from staff members, community members, clergy, the whole shebang. So our numbers were $15,960 from 21 donors, and one of those 22 donors. One of those donors had an increase in their already made gift, and 11 of these donors had made increases from their past giving. So as a reminder, these are not separate donations for Giving Tuesday. They were for the annual appeal campaign. So it's really amazing that we did this well. Just in comparison to last year, we had 4 donors and only raised $1,800. So completely 180, which is really amazing. And shout out to Jeremy for all of your work in helping us make our presence on social media there. Our total numbers for annual appeal are 445 donors with a total of $460,351. And we can really use guys' help. We have a phone-a-thon coming up in December, and I have a sheet for you guys to fill out. We love our members, or our members love hearing from you guys as well, not just me and Amanda. So if you guys were able to attend on the 13th, it'd be really beneficial. And thank you guys so much for everything that you guys do and all of the giving and support that you guys have helped us with.
Thank you, Becca, and great job to everybody. And the annual appeal, of course, is in really, really good shape and means a lot to us. Dr. Boer.
Thank you. I just want to report about the adult education and the school. We have a group of students, we call them the Shinshinim, that they are serving the community. They are young students who come from Israel and serve the community for a year. And they are here, they're 18 years old. And tomorrow night, they're going to do a very special program about Israel poetry here at the Aegis Library. They were here, this is their second program. They were here last month and they were terrific. Tomorrow night is about one of the singers, Israeli singer. His name is Arik Einstein, who is deceased, but he's very well known. So that will be the program tomorrow night. And then this coming Sunday, the 4th of December, David Harrison will interview 2 of our members of Bethel, Richard Kolker, Dr. Richard Kolker, and Judge Robert Steinberg. They're going to speak about their grandfather, the first president of Bethel, Reuben Levinson. And that interview will be this coming Sunday at 7 p.m. Then also next week, a week from today, we're going to have a first Wednesday, very different ones that we have from the past. We have a local artist and Bethel art teacher, John Viles, will do a display of his painting, and there is a very good violin player, Woody Lizauer from BSO, will play music based on the theme of art that Mr. Viles drew. Joseph Kassar is art specialist, art teacher, will be here starting in December 13. The life and art of Georgia O'Keeffe, and that will start in December. This is usually we get a lot of students, learners. And also I want to say that the Ulpan, the Hebrew Ulpan on Tuesdays is working very well. We have good attendance, and we're going to start it again and continue and start it again in the spring. That's it for me.
How many in the Ulpan class?
Over 50 students are in
Great.
the Ulpan and 6 teachers. Yeah.
So I think it is a success. I'm a participant. It's been 62 years since I last spoke Hebrew. So I'm having kind of a refresher. Words are coming back to me and enjoying it. My wife, who was frustrated with the beginning of Hebrew, is actually, because of the teachers that we have, she wants to continue on with the Hebrew, and maybe if it's not too cold this spring, winter, or whatever, she will continue. So I just want to say kudos to Dr. Boer for I experienced 3 teachers only because of the graduation from one teacher to another to fit into the proper level that I belong to. Experienced 3, and all of them were great. So kudos.
That's great. Any questions for Dr. Boer or any other comments? Committees and affiliates. Anybody? Sure, Jeanette. Janelle, let's use a microphone, please, so
Hold
that
on.
folks.
Hold on.
I have something for Social Action Committee. We are happy to say we have 4 new members. We haven't had new members in a long time, so that's very good. We're partnering with Woodholm Elementary School. They have some needs. They have a lot of kids, apparently a big influx from Latin America, and they're doing a lot of English as a second language classes, and they're really in need of books and outdoor equipment for recess, as well as indoor equipment for when they can't go outside for recess. So we are partnering with them for a couple of projects. The Light Up the Sky that we're doing with Chizikamuna, we're asking, and it's been on the flyers, for people coming to please bring a new book for elementary school level, and we'll be taking these books to Woodholm Elementary. At Purim, we have talked to the religious school, and they're going to have kids at different levels bring in toys, small toys, games, puzzles, that sort of thing, that we will also be giving to Woodholm Elementary at Purim time. And these, hopefully the children in the religious school will go and pick out something to give to the kids at Woodholm Elementary. So we're excited about doing those 2 things with them. And for the holiday for Chana, are partnering with Chana and the Women's and Children's Coalition at Sinai, we have collected about $2,350. We're not closed yet, so we're hoping to get some more money. If there's anybody here that hasn't contributed that would like to contribute it, we'd love to have some board member contributions. And that's it.
Thanks, Jeanette. Anybody else? Sisterhood. Emily. We're giving Ben his steps.
I just want to say, please read emails that come about upcoming events that come out every single week. Sisterhood is always at the bottom. Please scroll down. Our calendar is there. We have an authors series evening on the 15th at 7:30. You can certainly register on the email that comes and the flyer. And we've got all kinds of stuff coming up, so I thank you all for your participation.
Thanks, Emily. Who's the author?
Maggie Anton.
Go ahead, Elliot.
Want to give an update on the Downtown Schools Committee and the hard work that members are putting forth. We have one site in mind. It's very near to the current location, and it's the Federation for the Blind. The building has wonderful possibilities, but there are also some major expenses that need to be examined in terms of being feasible for the nature of the programs that we want to go in there. We are waiting for, I believe we have 2 more additional proposals coming in, and that will be factored into our total discussion. We're working on the expected income based upon hopefully 53 students, which is clearly an expansion, including both infant, toddler, and the preschool kids that we're working with. We have a meeting scheduled for next week, and hopefully we can pull all that information together and come up with the proposal.
Yep, thanks, Elliot. More to come. More to come on the downtown school.
I just wanted to add a little bit to adult ed. When you mentioned new board members, we would love some younger members on adult ed, and I would define younger as under 70. And I don't think we have anybody under 70. And we really, really want to reach out to the younger members of the congregation to provide classes that they would be interested in. And we're in the process of putting together the classes for next year. So input from anybody under 70 would be wonderful. The other thing is, speaking of being old, we're having a follow-up lecture on advanced directives on this coming Tuesday, the 6th, and then the following Sunday, the 11th, will be an in-person workshop where people can come and fill out with some help advanced directives, and we'll have 2 witnesses there. So for anybody, it's worth reviewing your advanced directives from time to time.
Thanks. Happy birthday. Yeah, Jeanette.
There is the last coat drive will be Monday, 10:30 to 11:30. A couple weeks ago, we with the major help of Sisterhood, Social Action and Sisterhood, collected 190 coats. And so if we can get some more this Monday, that would be wonderful.
All right. Anyone else? We'll go to Good and Welfare. I know Rabbi Schwartz is going to leave in a minute. Before he does, we'll wish him mazel tov on the engagement of his daughter. To Bethel member Austin Reef. Congratulations. And I don't know if we've done this. Helene became a grandmother, I think, since the last board meeting. Mazel tov, Helene. Anyone else? Any mazels? Any mitzvahs? Any questions for the good of the order? Mazel tov. That's great. All right, anything else? Kevin Fruman motions to adjourn the meeting. Michael seconds it. Thanks, everybody. Thank you very much. We'll see you in December, and look for the survey link. We don't.